So being poor is no fun.
You were big on wanting to get us out of debt and wanting to move. We wanted to move, get a nicer home, and think you did cars first, and that helped you get the extra for us to move because you didn't start doing something until we'd already moved. But you always were doing something to make extra money. You always
I even today I have
landscape
2-3
stuff
jobs.
or whatever. Yeah.
Now it's easier now because it's companies that I manage instead of the job itself. But it's still like different jobs because it's a completely different shift. Manufacturing, real estate, whatever. Those different things, lending. So actually I'm in multiple facets at this point. But it used to be you were the one when you have to and you don't have anything to offer and there's nothing built up, you have to be the one, which was me, to actually start and do something. So
taking that step.
That close friend of ours, a family friend who was selling cars through Enterprise. They had an auction, he was buying them wholesale. And this guy, he's super, super successful. It's just how he's wired. And by the way, I put all that whole story is in the book, Fear to Fortune, which essentially, for those who don't know, is coming out soon, but it's a real estate related book, but it's also a motivational style to help you understand and encourage those who may not have reached the level that they want to reach in life and success. And this book helps show them their capacity, their ability to do so, and what some of the roadblocks are and ceilings that they've created in their lives to be able to get there. And then if it's real estate that you're interested in, it also gives a full blueprint of, hey, here's how you do this. And so many of the other books just don't have that. So I really hope that this is something that can help people that is just not on the market, and becomes a source where people can better their lives and their future for when retirement comes. So this was that guy. Back to the story. This guy, we'll call him Chuck. So Chuck was a family friend. He was quite a bit older than me, but he was buying these cars from Enterprise, and so I'm a car guy, and I love cars. And so I asked him, I'm like, hey, can I get into the auction with you? And he's like, yeah, sure, come on, I'll show you how to do it, whatever. I knew how to buy and sell cars because I was already a car guy, but I didn't have any money. That was a problem. How do you buy cars with no money? How do you buy a wholesale car, a used car with no money? So I went, crawling up to my dad and said, hey, Dad, what if? I gave him a proposition. Chuck said he can let me kind of get into this a little bit with him and let me try it, but I don't have the money. Would you be willing to lend me a little bit and give it a go? Well, my dad knew that I was talented with cars and that I knew cars well just from my whole childhood.
And that you're trying to support.
And then I was trying to support a family and I just didn't have enough money and we were struggling. So, by the way, for those who are saying, right now, somebody may be thinking, well, why didn't your parents help you? That could be a thought.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably another whole video.
Yes.
But my parents didn't help me because I believe they knew what was really best for me.
Yeah.
Could they have helped me? Yeah, they could have. Did they? No. They didn't just give us money when they probably had a little bit extra they could have.
Yeah.
And I think that was the greatest thing they could have done for me. In the time, I'm like, hey, can't you send a little my way?
Right.
But now my mature version says, you know what? That's what gave me the push I needed to go fight and win.
Exactly.
Let's back up. So my dad gave me a small, I think it was up to $3,000 max. That basically like a credit line with mom and dad. That he said, okay, I'll let you borrow this much. Go find a car. So I found one and it was like $1,500. And I bought the car.
Think back then, $1,500.
Well, it's crazy you even to buy a car for $1,500.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, now an average car I think is, I don't know, and if you buy an average new car, 30s, maybe? They're ridiculous, but anyway. So I bought one, my first one, and it was a cheap car. I polished it all up and I put it on the market and I sold it and made a nice profit right away. Now, I had to give some to Chuck. I had to give some to the guy who carried the dealer's license and, so everybody got their piece. And then I had to give some back to my dad. So there wasn't a whole lot left, but there was money there that I just made and it was fun. So I started doing that and just within the next year, I profited like 10 grand from flipping cars. And
that made a huge difference.
Huge difference because I still worked my day job, didn't quit the day job, but I allowed this to be a secondary so you get out there and fight, hustle, and you find a way to make extra. Those are the things that I think are so important for people to understand because, you just can't, doing 8 hours a day, that's what average people do. That's what anybody does. We all have to do that. It's what you do extra that really starts changing your life and your bank account. If you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, you're likely going to get the same results that everybody else has.
And some people are happy with that, and that's fine, but if you're not, you got to put in the work and start doing something to get there.
And for us, we wanted to dig a whole lot of poverty.
Yes. So that helped us to be able to buy our next house.
Tremendously. So then we moved to our next house in a way nicer area. than where we started. Our first house was about 800.
House?
No, it was 2-bedroom house. First house.
Oh, first house, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
2-bedroom house, 800 square feet, really, really old, and in a not so great area. Second house in a nice area. It wasn't a big house or anything, but it was awesome. It was wonderful to us. It was about 1,400 feet.
I think, yeah.
3-bedroom, 2-bathroom in a family subdivision, and I think it was about 25 years old at the time. Yeah, and it was fantastic. So that allowed us to move into that. Then there were other things along the way that I started construction
when we were there,
and started selling siding. So, it's funny because if you watch for an opportunity, there's money everywhere.
Right. I was going to say, I don't remember what got you started with that. What made
easy.
your wheels turning when you're like, oh, wait, wasn't it a
Trying to
letter
save
we
money.
got? But I thought we got some kind of letter about the siding.
It was a Masonite claim letter.
That's right. And so that's kind of what got your wheels turning on that. Getting
so,
into that whole thing.
It's a good picture to help show that you have to seize opportunity and you have to watch for them. So we get a letter from Masonite, which was they manufactured siding panels, and there are millions of houses with that. They were like the #1 siding provider before vinyl siding really took off.
Yeah.
And they had a flawed product, so there was a civil suit that created a large claim, so they were sending out anybody who had those. Well, I'm like, how the heck am I going to pay for siding? I mean, it's like $5,000 to side this whole house, maybe $6,000. And I'm thinking, I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
So, and I could see some of the siding falling apart, in the house and everything. And so what I did was I kept getting quotes over and over from different people, and I found this guy.
Yep.
His name was Jason, and he gave me a quote, and it was pretty cheap. And I'm like, oh, that's quite a bit different. Yeah. And he was from a little bit further south, which, the prices come down a little bit. So I hired him to do ours. I bought the material and paid him just the labor only. And he came in and decided, put all vinyl siding on it. It was beautiful. So I'm like, wow. So I started thinking,
because all the houses in our subdivision were.
I could make some money doing this, I think. So next thing you know, I sold a house across the street, and then I lined this guy up, and we started a partnership. And I would I'd buy all the materials. I would then collect the checks from the owner. He would come hang the siding, put it all on, install it on. I'd collect the final check, and take 30% or more, sometimes up to 50% in profit, pay him, and we were gone. And by the next thing you know, a couple years later, I had sided almost the whole street and all throughout our subdivision. And it was just like boom, 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 this trickle effect. We started doing roofs, windows, doors, all exterior work. And those things really propelled us. So
that was your first
just to give some context, in the next 2 years, we profited almost $75,000 from those things.
It's amazing.
That was like by a complete accident. Then that starts changing your life.
Yeah.
That wasn't profit. It was. Okay, yeah. Pre-tax.
Then after 5 years of being in that house.
Then after 5 years, we progress forward. So the whole point is, you have to hustle.
I was just going to say hustle.
And I think most people miss the opportunity because they think they can't do something. And it was not because I knew how to do something. I figured it out as I went because I wasn't afraid to just jump in and push through.
And you have that, not everybody has that personality of just a go-getter. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it no matter what it takes. You do have a unique way about you like that. You're going to figure it out, and you want to get it done. So what do you say to people that aren't like that, don't have that go-getter, I want to do this, but have no idea where to start or what to do?
I think most people are scared to take the first step.
Right.
It's always fear.
Very scary.
It's always fear. So I coach all kinds of folks, and the common trend usually in how they're trying to break through, not all of them, but how they're trying to break through into the next level is always fear-based. Or how come they don't see the opportunity? Well, it's because you're not making a move to jump into the opportunity. So you're conditioning yourself to be safe and comfortable, which you can't grow if you want to be comfortable all the time.
Right.
If you want to do that, go get your blankie and a pillow and go crawl in a hole, and you can just lay there and be safe all the time.
Yeah.
But if you want to get out into the mix and you want to find some real successes in what God has in your life, then you have to step into it, and it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, it's really tense, stressful, and there's a lot of pressure behind you when you're in those situations. The only way to really progress forward to the greatest rewards in life is to step in.
Yeah, just go, just do it. Yeah.
That's what holds most people back, and I was a proponent of that.
Yeah.
In fact, even with the success that we've seen, I know today that the greatest thing that held me back, which I can't even imagine where we'd be had I known this earlier, is fear.
Yeah.
Which, hence the title of the book, Fear to Fortune.
Yeah.
That's why that title was so prevalent and meant so much to me, was because that was our path.
Yeah, and I remember you saying years ago, before you bought the first rental property, that you just wish you would have done it sooner. You were scared. You were scared to pull the trigger. You were scared yeah, it was fear holding you back.
You're trying to leverage risk and you think that you can't do it or you don't know enough or anything else. And today, in today's world, man, there's so much information that you
It's
can
so
get
easy
to
to
know
find.
something quicker than what we did. We didn't have YouTube and all that stuff to figure it out. You
Google
just had to be
wasn't
willing to
big.
jump in
Yeah.
and fight and hope that you can wing it and talk your way through it.
Yeah.
And just do it.
Yeah, you would call people and actually learn from. You just had to figure it
I
out.
would say one of the greatest attributes you can have is you don't have to have the answer for everything. You just have to be willing to chase down or call the right person or find the person who does have the answer. That's all it takes. So when you start challenging yourself and saying, I don't really know anything about that, or I'm not, smart enough to do that, or I don't have enough training or talent in that area, it really doesn't have much to do with that. It has to do with more, are you willing to make the time and, adapt to understanding what the premise is. Go chase somebody down who does know, and then figure out how you can leverage them to get what you want.
Yeah.
That's how you get there.
Yeah.
So we've been super blessed, but just so the viewers understand, it was not, just stepping into something easy. Life was hard. We've gone from poverty to freedom. But there was a price to pay, and we had to fight through that, and we've been blessed to get there.
Yeah, I was just going to say it wasn't always easy just in our marriage, with our family, everything, all the years. 30 years is a long time, and we've definitely had ups and downs throughout those years, and disconnection, and dealt with all of that kind of stuff. So we've been through it. Cancer, just all kinds of things have been thrown our way, and different things we've had to go through the years.
Life.
So yeah,
it's life. And some people see success and think that you didn't have to do life like they did.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The truth is, everybody's doing life. It doesn't matter how much money you have, or how great of a relationship you have, how many kids you have, what college you went to, what high school you went to. If you're in Missouri, hey, what high school did you go to?
That's such a big thing. Probably everywhere. Yeah.
But it really doesn't matter because everybody is subjective to life and the things that life brings. The difference is how you handle them and what you choose to do with them when they come your way.
That's right. Yep. And I think we've learned so much now, being in it this long, is how to deal with certain things and be able to, like you said, coach others on different life challenges that they're going through, because we've been through so much in all these years. So.
You become seasoned in time because the things that bothered you and were so hard and so scary then, now when you look back, because you've got a lot more life under your belt, they're not near as scary.
No.
And that gives you the grit and confidence to jump into the next thing, because there's always going to be a next thing.
And we didn't have that. We didn't have anyone to talk to. We didn't have people to help us navigate when you're going through stuff with your kids and just different things that you go through in life. It's just we didn't have that. Even
with YouTube, there's so many resources out there now that you can turn to extract information or encouragement. Which is what we're trying to do for folks. Essentially, is just share a little bit about what we've learned and hope that it helps somebody else's journey. Maybe shine a light on where they're at
They're not
earlier, so they don't have to learn it as difficult as we did. Doesn't mean they won't go through it, but they may just have a different picture of it if they know a little bit about it sooner.
Yep.
So that's good. So we're going to do a continuation, but we're going to break it apart into multiple videos, kind of our journey in the different segments, how you get from, on poverty, on success, on the challenges in a relationship, through the growth period of building a career, the challenges of raising kids, while juggling careers and all those. So we're going to try to do like an A to Z, but it was too much to come into one video. So stick with us. If you're interested in, or learning anything from some of our travels or our journey, from kind of a rags to riches type story, or poverty to success type thing, then jump back in and check out some of the other videos that we'll link here.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or you want to know anything, or anything comes up that you want to ask us, leave comments, and we'd love to see those.
I have a question. What are we doing for lunch?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see you next time.